Wow. How good you are at your job. And then we're back on the road. On the road again.
So
Chris
who the hell is
Cross.
Daniel Cross?
Believe it or not, he used to be an assassin. The assassin, the way I've heard it told, but it turned out he was a sleeper agent for Abstergo, programmed to infiltrate and destroy the organization.
How did he know you were there? We could be compromised.
They must have caught me snooping inside their network and sent Cross to see what we were after. If they were aware of our current location, we'd know. Though, I will say this. Doesn't bode very well for future
They know what we
expeditions.
want.
I've set up some cameras topside. If anyone shows up, we'll see it.
I'd suggest you go see about finding a socket for that power source. Or we can return to Connor if you prefer. All the artifacts in the world won't mean a thing without the key.
Yeah, we need to figure out where Connor put this key. Alright, so now where would I even begin to put this thing, this artifact? In here? Here? Oh, no. I want to drop, like, over here. Where would I put this key? I have no clue. Where would you put it? This is an empty room. There's gotta be some socket somewhere. It's not here. It has to be like somewhat obvious. Where would it be? Let's talk to them. Maybe they have clues. Or could it be up here? What is this thing anyway?
Ah, Desmond, there you are. Can I ask a favor?
Maybe.
When this is all over, I'd like to try turning the dial back on the Animus. Like, all
Really?
the way back. To the time of the first civilization.
You think it would work?
There was no real loss of fidelity when you visited Altair. Then again, that was about 1,000 years ago, and I'm looking at going back at least 70,000 more.
Sure, I'd be up for it. Be interesting to see what things were like back then.
Excellent. I think it would prove most enlightening. So this is how it started.
What are you up to?
Just brushing up on my American history. Well, I say history. They certainly teach us strange things in the States.
Like what?
Well, for all the talk of this being a revolutionary war, it was a civil one. Well, not that kind of civil. I mean, there was no America versus Britain. It was Brit on Brit action. And you can clearly see how the whole thing
That
got
sounded
started.
very wrong.
One war gave birth to the other.
You mean the 7 Years' War?
Exactly. Seems the Crown overspent in its attempt to keep the French out, wound up with a great deal of debt. Believing that the colonists should help to shoulder the burden, new taxes were created. It was a reasonable request, even if Parliament was rather, well, undiplomatic about it.
Well, it's not really fair to tax people for a war they didn't want any part of.
What? Didn't want any part of? Did you not notice George Washington with
Yep.
Edward Braddock? He was right there in the middle of it. So here you have the Crown spending who knows how much money to
He's
secure a
glitching out,
place
by
for
the way.
colonists to thrive, and then when they ask for a little bit of help, right? Look, think of it this way:
He's such a
King
British
George
guy.
and the colonists, they all go out to dinner, right? And when the bill comes, George asks for them to kick in and pay their share. Fair enough. But keep in mind, he's been taking them out to dinner gratis for decades now. The colonists, oh no, they insist they only had a glass of water and a side salad. Never mind the table's full of half-eaten food and empty bottles of wine. Now, when the king points this out, what do the colonists do? Oh, they flip the table over and they storm out the restaurant. Probably
He has
intending
such
to
a funny
turn
interpretation.
late, burn it down.
You left out the part where the king pointed a gun at the colonists and asked them to cover dinner for everyone in the restaurant.
Right, yeah, interesting take. If he pulled out a gun, and I'm not sure he did, it would only have been after the 100th failed attempt at getting them to pay their fair share.
But how do you define someone's fair share?
Oh, well, with a war.
Oh boy.
I wonder how many other places like this exist.
There are dozens of them.
These two really
All over
don't
the
get
world.
along ever.
And somehow no one's ever found one before us.
I don't think that's true.
Oh?
When I was at Abstergo, Vidic talked about silencing discoveries made by non-Templars. And I'm sure Abstergo has dug up plenty.
The things they must know.
Regretting throwing in with us?
No. Just looking forward to when we can finally trounce those bastards so I can dive into their archives.
Oh, what? This is glass? Yeah, it's glass.
Oh, I think I found a lead on another power source.
All right.
Later, Desmond. I'm in the middle of something very important right now. Just, that's a rule. Just follow that.
All right. So he says I have a lead on another power source, and then he doesn't follow it up with more dialogue. So screw you then. I honestly have no clue where I would put this thing in. What does she say? Where is she? Eagle Vision? Really doesn't show much. They kind of ruined it. Starting with Revelations. They ruined it. They made it good for 2 games and they ruined it again.
Son, I owe you an apology. I shouldn't have lashed out like that. You have to understand, I've never been very good at this. Never mind that we live rather extraordinary lives.
Yeah, I kinda liked my ordinary one.
You can't escape who you are, Desmond.
So I've noticed.
Look, it's silly for us to go back and forth like this. I admit, I did a shitty job raising you. I apologize, I'm sorry. But it's important you understand it didn't come from a bad place. You're my son. I love you. I guess I was so busy trying to make sure nothing bad happened, I didn't consider the consequences.
And this is where we are today.
Truce.
I can't believe it's taken me so long to ask, but... how's Mom? She's not...
No. Your mother is fine. We decided it was safer if we split up for this job.
Always assuming the worst.
Fair enough. One less
Good
chick to
reason.
render.
Can I at least say hi to her?
I'm sorry, it's too risky. Maybe when we're done.
Right.
One less
When we're
person
done.
we need to pay a voice actor for. That's it.
Have we ever tried to make peace
Nope.
with the Templars?
Throughout our history, there have been moments. Several, in fact. But it's impossible. There are existential differences, insurmountable. If there were to be unity, it wouldn't be a truce so much as a submission.
But knowing what's about to happen, wouldn't it make sense to try and talk to Vidic? Come to an arrangement, even if it's only
Nope.
temporary?
We'd all be so busy watching our backs, nothing would get accomplished. Imagine that. We're more productive at war.
Well, have we ever tried sending in someone? Doing to them what they did to us with Lucy? Or Cross?
We have, and it's never worked. We've sent people who were either too weak and found themselves turned, or too strong and were unable to carry out the charade.
I just feel like we all want the same thing.
We use the same words, but that's all they are, words. In the end, it all comes down to freedom. We seek it, they detest it. And so there's never an end to the fight. Not until one side is completely gone.
Is that even possible?
Probably not. Our two groups have existed in one form or another since, well, since forever. But things can be better than they are.
That's for sure.
And that's something.
Did you look for me, Dad?
More
I was
dialogue.
gone.
Every day.
Come on.
I mean it. Every night I'd look, searching for your name or variations of it. hoping you'd slip
Nope.
up. Abstergo only found you first because they had better access. A few more days,
Too
and
bad.
it would have been me.
Well, I'm here now.
And I'm glad.
Is that it for the dialogue?
Do you think Lucy regretted what she was doing?
What was she doing?
I used to think I knew her well, but clearly that wasn't the case. So I really can't give you an honest answer.
She seems so sincere, though. Like
Do you think she
really wanted
regrets
to make
teaming up with the person who would kill her?
Yes, well, when I first met him, I thought the same thing about Cross.
It just keeps happening over and over again.
What does?
Everything.
Don't get weird on me, Desmond.
No, it's fine.
Son, are you
Fine,
coming out of the
don't
closet
worry.
to me?
All right, then. You should think about getting back in the Animus. We've got
Alright, so then screw it. I won't find out where to put it. Whatever. Too bad for them. Seriously. Oh, wait, here we go. Interact. Received messages, mission replay. Oh. Mission footage logs. I see how it works. You can replay Desmond missions. These guys send messages to each other, even though they're standing 5 feet away from each other, all sending messages. In any event, back in the Animus.
Good luck, Desmond.
Get back in there.
These are troubled times. The already uneasy alliance between the Crown and its subjects frays. And behind them both the Templars plot, pulling strings and moving pieces. History dictates they seek order through control. But how will they affect it here? Who supports them? And what conspiracies have they already spun? All these things I must determine. For only by knowing my
Sequence
enemy can I hope
6,
to stop them.
1773.
Connor,
He looks
there a
completely
moment?
different.
Of course.
have a look.
What is it?
The Xingbao.
Rope dart.
Rope dart, if you prefer. One of the many plans given to us by Xiao Zhu.
Oh shit.
Sorry.
We'll have to work on this.
What is that knock?
Ganondogo,
Yes, my friend.
what brings you here? Is the village all right?
For now,
What do you mean? What has happened?
men came, claiming we had to leave. They said that the land was being sold, and that the Confederacy had consented. We sent an envoy, but they would not listen.
You must refuse!
We cannot oppose the Sachem, but you're right as well. We cannot give up our home.
Do you have a name? Do you know who is responsible?
He's called William
Yep.
Johnson.
Where is
Isn't that one of the
Johnson?
In
guys?
Boston, making preparations for the sale.
Sale! This is theft!
Connor, take care. These men are powerful.
What would you have me do? I made a promise to my people.
I think he is one of the guys on the
If you
list.
insist upon this course of action, seek out Sam Adams in Boston. He'll be able to...
Tomahawk, baby. Yes!
What have you done?
Destroy the foundations of this house.
When my people go to war, a hatchet is buried into a post to signify its start. When the threat is ended, the hatchet is removed.
You could have
We just had this place painted. God damn it, Connor. He would peg leg in the homestead about... Oh, well, that's Captain Kidd's treasure. Ooh, what's his fast travel point for? Xiao Jun. Who's this? They mentioned him. Born 1505, Xiao Jun is an assassin from China and one of the last assassins to meet with Ezio Auditore before his death. Jun was born in royal captivity during the Ming Dynasty. She spent her teenage years life as one of the favorite concubines of the Chinese emperor Zhengde. While not an ideal lifestyle, though I wouldn't mind it, it's better than digging ditches. Zhengde's taste for travel meant by age 15, Jun had seen more of the world than most people of the era, which I suppose you might consider a bright side. if you do realize that even some cats have seen more of the world than most people of the area.